Well, thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today and having us here.
It's our pleasure. Thanks for coming.
Could you tell us what is the definition of a social entrepreneur?
So people have varying definitions for this, but the way that we define it at S&R and Halcyon is that a social entrepreneur is somebody who prioritizes social impact as much as they do profit.
Oh, all right. So how do you help them to balance their lives with social activities, but also they need to have the financial activity in their companies so they can survive, right? How do you help them balance that?
I don't know if balance is a word that is natural for any entrepreneur.
Okay.
But there's a range, right? When you say social business, there are definitely businesses that skew a little bit more towards the social impact, and those for whom the social impact is nice, but the profit comes first. And we're really looking for the ones that are in the center.
Okay.
And it makes a lot of sense because you can't do good unless you're doing well.
Yes.
You have to be profitable, and that has to be built into your model, even if you are seeking to create social change. But we found the ones that are the most successful are the ones for whom the social change is actually a scalable part of their business model. The more that it replicates, it inherently creates wealth as well. Yeah. They're trickiest to find, but we have some of those.
Yes. What are the benefits and what are all the services that you offering here?
Yeah, so we're a very unique incubator. Halcyon, one of the things that I will certainly focus on is we provide residency. Okay. So people get to live here.
That's great.
They get to live here for 5 months. We also give them a $10,000 per diem stipend for living costs and food.
And I'm sorry, do they live here for free or there is a cost?
They live here for free, no cost.
Wow, that's excellent.
Yeah, we don't take equity in any of our fellows. We do this from the standpoint of wanting to create social impact. Yeah. And I would say that the really special piece about housing people for free is that you can disrupt who gets to be an entrepreneur, right? You don't have to come from wealth. You don't have to know investors yet. You can just come and have that piece taken care of so that you can focus.
Okay.
The other fantastic piece about housing people in an inspirational space like this, Halcyon is built in 1787. It's very historic.
Very historic.
And it allows people to, I think and vision bigger and act more courageously because we're celebrating them. We're calling out these 8 fellows that we take from over 200 applications and saying, you're really special, right?
How do you select them?
That's there's a couple of other things we give them.
Let's
I'm
finish
so
that.
sorry.
No, let's finish that.
We also give them a mentor. We assign a mentor, and that's a very careful selection process in itself. They get pro bono business support from Deloitte. So they get an advisor to help them with their business plan, their market research. Yes. They get pro bono legal support from Arnold & Porter, and they get pro bono communications support from Sage Communications. Lastly, they also get assigned a leadership coach. And that's separate from a mentor. That's somebody who can help them balance, like you were mentioning, the life challenges and the anxieties that can sometimes come from being an entrepreneur, and just keep that in check.
Wow, great. So how is the process of the selection?
Yeah.
Because I know you guys are global.
Yeah.
So my audience in Ecuador, they can apply, right?
They can apply.
To come
here. To DC.
So what's the process? What do they need to have in order to get selected?
Yeah. So we do get about 200 applications for every 8 spots. We do that twice a year, so 16 total per year can come to Halcyon.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah, I bet.
There's some tremendous ideas out there, but those 200 get whittled down to the top 16. Okay. That then, and the way we keep it fair, because people are coming from around the world, is we then do a virtual pitch. So they pitch to our selection committee virtually. They get asked some very tough questions, and it's at that point that we know all of those business plans are fantastic, all those ideas are innovative, but we're really looking for the je ne sais quoi at that point, the charm, the ability to sort of be able to galvanize support around yourself, which you're going to need.
Wow. Have you ever had any entrepreneur from Latin America or Central America?
Yeah, we have Diana Sierra from our first cohort, who's incredible. Her business is Be Girl.
Okay.
So inherent in her business plan is empowering women and girls to get education and achieve greater things by providing them with excellently designed products, particularly currently for menstruation, but she has a ton of other ideas.
Yes.
And actually her factory is in Colombia.
Oh, okay.
But we have people from around the world: Japan, Iran, Uganda, Singapore, and we think that the diversity, the mixture in the cohorts is a strength. We found that the more diverse the cohorts are, by gender, background, ethnicity, the stronger the cohorts are. We have 40% women in our cohorts, which is very unusual for an incubator.
Yes, that's great. And I believe if they live here and the program is in-house, they connect to each other and
You're
they
exactly
help
right.
with each other, right?
No, you've pinpointed something very important. I think when we survey the fellows, the things that they say that are most important to them, that they love the most, obviously the residents
Yes.
living here, that their mentors become very special to them. But always, second or third is their fellows, because as you very astutely point out, they provide emotional support for each other.
Yes.
They share a kitchen, which is very important, and they also actually help each other with tangible items. Like sometimes, if someone comes from a design background, they'll design someone else's prototype, or someone is a very good writer, they'll write someone else's website copy.
Yeah.
So it's really important to embed them together.
And maybe now they have like a community, right?
Exactly.
After they leave from here, they get in touch with
No,
each
and
other
not just
again.
each other, but everyone who comes in and out of here who's
Here.
part of the Halcyon community. Because otherwise, entrepreneurship's very lonely.
Oh,
People
yes.
think you're crazy.
Oh yeah, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, and what's happening with, in Ecuador, and I think in other countries, is like you have an idea, you really want to have your business, but right now you have your steady job.
Right.
And you have your steady paycheck every month. So
Why would you disrupt that?
exactly,
Yeah.
especially if you have a good job. So what do you think are the challenges the entrepreneur have to face, especially with social business?
Many, right? And especially with social and entrepreneurship, convincing people that you're a good investment is even more challenging, right?
Yes.
It's challenging enough to pitch for investment when
Yes.
you've got something that is purely for profit.
Yes.
But if an investor is worried that you're going to take some of their profit and put it into social change,
Yes.
that can be an even harder sell. We believe that this is the way forward for business, that social business is going to be normal in 20 years. Certainly the way that millennials like to have cause be part of their life. We see that shift happening now, and conscious capitalism, and how a lot of big companies are even backing into corporate social responsibility now.
Yes.
So we think this is going to be very normal, but now it can be a hard sell
Yes.
for investors.
Absolutely. So why in DC? Why in Washington DC? Is because it's a political district, or you have a lot of companies here? Why the entrepreneurs should pick Washington DC to come to an incubator?
Not every entrepreneur should pick Washington DC. If you're creating the next Angry Birds thing to play on your phone, you should go to Silicon Valley.
Exactly.
But
yes.
if you would like to create scalable social change,
Yeah.
we think Washington DC is the best place to do that. Right? You have the overlap of all of the sectors. You have the federal government on your doorstep. You have all of the embassies, World Bank, NIH, you name it. You have the bodies that you need to reach out to in the city. There's tremendous intellectual capital here too. So finding mentors in the right fields is never an issue. There's a lot of very generous, smart Washington people who are willing to share their knowledge.
Absolutely.
But it's, with social enterprise, whether it's a product or a service, ultimately, when you go to scale, one potential option is actually outside of your regular business realm, but it's policy, and it's changing global policy in many ways. So being embedded in an international capital, I think, is definitely part of the making sure that our runway is correct.
Absolutely, yeah. Other than the 6-month program, do you offer some type of conferences that our entrepreneurs in Ecuador can assist, let's say like a week or days, that they just can come here and attend to a conference? Do
If
offer
you
that?
want to do that with us, then we're happy to do that. That sounds great. That's a good idea.
Okay. Because sometimes entrepreneurs are looking for just, a 3-day program.
Of course,
Or
like a boot
4-day
camp.
program.
Yeah.
So, and it's hard sometimes to find it or accommodate with their schedule. So.
Yeah. No, so our Halcyon is one program with the SNR Foundation, and our general methodology is to find really talented people and surround them with some very robust supports and just help them find self-efficacy and achieve things that are greater than they could do just by themselves, right? I don't know how easy that is to do in 3 days. Like
Yes.
part of the methodology
Yes,
is like,
yes.
surround them for 5 months and sort of, especially when you're trying to achieve social change, it's very hard.
Yeah.
You get beaten down a lot. You have to really be gritty, and it's easy to become skeptical, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we think that by providing them an inspirational space and by celebrating them and giving them everything that they need,
Yes.
that they are more hopeful, more energized. I don't know how much that could transfer to a weekend, but I bet we could figure it out.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Of course.
And thank you for let us see this beautiful building.
Yeah.
Because it's a historical building and it's beautiful.
Thank you. And I will mention that the application period for Halcyon is open now
Oh,
until
okay.
early May. So
All right.
we would love to have an Ecuadorian fellow.
Oh, that would be great. So which one is the website? What's the website?
Thank you. It's halcyonincubator.org.
All right. So I'll make sure to put it in
Yes,
the...
come be with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.